You've been asking for it repeatedly in many cases, so finally we've got the top 10 under $100 90s insert cards. I said that a little funny, but you get the gist. Let's not waste any time and get right into it. Welcome to the most passionate content for card collectors on YouTube and possibly the whole entire internet. As usual, I am your host, Jake Roy, 90s B-Ball Cards here on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, a little bit of Twitter, and we'll see if we get a little bit more TikTok in 2023. This one has some stuff that might be good for TikTok. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So, yes, like I said, you have been asking for it repeatedly, and this is also a little bit of a follow-up from the great conversation I had on the Sports Card Therapist podcast with Rob and company on one of the roundtables talking about cards under $500. We're going to go even a tick lower than that and look at the top 10 90s inserts under $100. So everything on this list had to fit within that criteria. So there are a lot of cards that are beautiful, that are not going to make this list, that are, you know, you can say it's a value buy or whatever, but it is not $100 or less. I made a couple of extensions to that list, but very few made it in, and we'll talk about why some of those made that in. But yeah, so we're going to keep these all to $100, something that I think a lot of people, it's a price point a lot of people are interested in, a lot of beautiful cards, but this is a list that I could go way beyond 10. So this is just scratching the surface. Take a look at my Instagram over the next few weeks, and I will talk about some more cards that, again, could make this list. Some of them really you have to see in video or really in hand, so having a picture of it might not do it justice, so I might do some reels, might do some TikTok with it, all that kind of fun stuff. We'll see what happens. But anyway, you get the idea. Let's get right into the cards. Alright, so let's get started with this list. I'm really excited to share. Of course, as you, I'm sure, expect by now, we will have some honorable mentions that we'll go through, and let's roll right in with number 10. So we've got here the 95-96 Fleer Metal. This is the Metal Force. This one obviously is Dennis Rodman. So this is one that really makes the list because the checklist doesn't have a ton of big names. So, you know, Dennis Rodman's one of the bigger names. Magic Johnson's a big name for sure. And I would say other than that, probably Grant Hill. So you don't have any Jordan or Shaq or some of the other, you know, Charles Barkley, I think, is also in this set. So I should definitely mention him. You know, but none of the ones that are going to make this really, really pricey. So this is one, you know, where if you're looking to get in some of the top stars, you can probably get them for $20 or less. A lot of them you're probably going to be closer to $10. And commons you can typically find, you know, like a Joe Smith or some other players for $1 or so. So definitely a cool looking acetate set that is not like overwhelmingly acetate, but has that kind of like shattered backboard type of feel. Lots of color on the back, you know, just very 90s looking card. You know, and they weren't the easiest ones to hit either. So definitely something that I think is a cool looking card. And if there's a player that you like from the set, one that you can get it pretty inexpensively. All right, number 9, we've got two cards that I'm going to show here. So we've got the 95-96 Topps Power Boosters, and you can see there's two refractor patterns. These are both Gary Payton, obviously. So this one here, where it has him as a league leader for steals, is Series 1. The other one is Series 2. So there are two series, and this one is one that I kind of snuck into the list because the Jordans in this set, there are 2 in Series 1, there's 1 in Series 2. Because of that, the Series 2 goes for a bit more, but I really like some of the ones in Series 1, especially the one for scoring. You know, so those ones do get a tick over $100, so a little bit over our threshold, but you're looking at about $100 to $130. You know, condition is definitely something that you need to look for in here. There can be delaminating, so sometimes if you see a price that's too good to be true on a Jordan, for example, that's probably because there's some sort of condition issue. But beautiful looking cards. You know, the one here for Series 1 is definitely a pattern that we've seen. You know, even Panini uses it, you know, in a horizontal instead of vertical. You know, they call it the Pulsar, I think. I haven't really seen the Series 2 refractor pattern get repeated. You know, maybe I'm wrong on that. You can drop a comment down below if there is somewhere else that you've seen this kind of almost like a feather, similar to a hyper, but not quite the same thing as a hyper. So like I said, the Jordan, a little bit over $100. Other than that, you're looking at Shaq as being one of the other bigger names, where you can probably get his for like 10 or 15, I would say $15 to $20 roughly on there. And most commons you're probably going to get for around $2 to $5. So, you know, these Gary Paytons are, you know, roughly a $5 card each, but they definitely look a lot better. So really cool looking stuff, you know. And there are some, you know, some names like Rod Strickland in some of these sets, but then you've also got, like I said, names like Jordan and Shaq. So it really runs the gamut. You know, look at the league leaders from that year. You can see a lot of fun players that you might really enjoy, and it could be a fun set to chase as well. So fun stuff there. These were 1 per box also, I should mention that for the odds. So not the easiest to hit the Jordan for this one here at number 9. All right, number 8. This is 95-96 Fleer Metal Maximum Metal. And this is one that, you know, I just don't see get a lot of love. You know, so we've got the Charles Barkley here. The Jordan is one that I know my brother always loved and always felt as though the price was kind of surprising to him for how much he enjoyed it. So the Jordan's right around $80. You know, you can get a Shaq for about, you know, $10, $12, $15, right around that price point. Charles Barkley, you're probably going to be right around $5 to $10, and some of the lesser names you're going to be at like probably $2 to $5. So cool looking cards. Again, you get some foil like you would expect with Fleer Metal. You got some nice die cuts. I also like how the ball pattern here, kind of like with that diamond print, is something that's carried through on the Maximum Metal in the next year, 96, 97, which I like a little bit more, but a little harder to hit and a little bit more expensive. So that's not going to be on the list. A little bit of a spoiler there if you were expecting that. So that one is a great one there, in my opinion, at number 8. All right, number 7, really excited that I could get this on the list. So 98-99 Topps Chrome. This is the Instant Impact Refractor. So a lot of these inserts you're going to see as we go through are going to be ones that are kind of like the base level, or they don't have a parallel. This one is the highest level parallel that you can get of these. So it made it fun to get on the list, but it probably was able to sneak on the list because there's not a Jordan, and I would estimate if there was a Jordan in this set for whatever reason, it doesn't fit the theme, but that's regardless. I don't think this would have been on the list, especially where it's listed here at number 7. A card that is, you know, beautiful to me. I've got a lot of fun memories. Also, Vince Carter's rookie year. So this Vince Carter is the biggest value card in the set at right around $40. You know, sometimes you can see him go a little bit closer to 50. Sometimes they get a little bit below 40, but right around that $40 price point as a median. You know, Shaq is one of the bigger names, also a $30 card, roughly $25 to $30. Tim Duncan is another name. You're probably looking at $15 to $20 for Tim Duncan. You know, so again, not having Jordan, not having Kobe in this set definitely helps the value to stay under that $100 threshold. But a beautiful looking set. And again, look at the checklist. If it's a set that you like the look of, there's a lot of rookies from this year that are in the set, as well as a couple of those bigger name players, and you know, some lesser known players as well. So I should mention the commons on the set are about $5 when you can find them. Sometimes they don't pop up too often. So that's number 7, I believe we're on now. All right, number 6. So we've got a number to show here for this one. Another one from 98-99. This one from Topps instead of Topps Chrome. So we've got the Coast to Coast. So I'm going to show a number of players because I really enjoy this set. So we've got the Grant Hill, we've got Jason Kidd, we've got Kevin Garnett, we've got Allen Iverson, and we also have Penny Hardaway. We'll focus on the 3 main PC players here, the KG, Iverson, and Penny. But I wanted to make sure to include these two because I think Coast to Coast is something with, as we know, Jason Kidd was a triple-double machine, but you know, getting a rebound and taking it down to the other end of the floor is something that he was known to do, and I just really love this picture. I think it really embodies the you know, the idea of somebody driving from coast to coast here with Grant Hill. So I wanted to make sure to include those because I just think that they are really cool. But focusing on these other 3 here, just for visual effect, you know, this is a set that has a Topps Chrome parallel, or not a parallel, but has a Topps Chrome counterpart, and there is a refractor counterpart. I do love the Topps Chrome version, but not as much as this Topps. I love the refractor version. You know, I think the refractor version does rival this one in looks. Definitely gets a little bit more love because it is chrome and it is a refractor and it is a little bit more rare. But with all that set aside, one of the bigger names in this set is going to be Kobe Bryant. So Kobe Bryant is roughly a $30 card, which again, for a card as beautiful and as striking as this, feels, you know, like something that I want to race out and get myself, to be completely honest with you. Iverson, you're looking at like $5 to $10. Penny, you're looking at roughly $5 to $10. KG, a little bit lower than that. You know, in commons you can get for $1 or $2 usually. So, you know, like that Jason Kidd is probably about $2 to $5. Same thing with the Grant Hill, probably $2 to $5. So not the most expensive cards, but just beautiful cards. If you like holo foil, this has your name written all over it. You can probably see it a little bit in the background. You've got kind of like a basketball with a globe on it. You can see that a lot more clearly on the Topps Chrome and the Topps Chrome Refractor versions, but it's a little bit harder to see, which I think gives you something really cool to look at on these cards. So really fun ones here at number 6. All right, number 5, another one, you might have heard me talk about these before. So, 98.99 getting a lot of love in this, but Fleer Tradition, we've got the Great Expectations. So we've got Iverson, we've got KG, and we've got Sharif Abdul-Rahim. And this is a set that, you know, again, being 98.99, you're not going to have any Jordans in here. It's not the most rare set. I just think it's really cool. All the embossing, that gold foil, the gold holo foil, you know, rainbow foil there. Really, the idea here was to be like the title page or the cover of a hardback leather-bound book, which I think, you know, really kind of makes it feel like you're opening the story of the player's career. I think it's a cool theme. I think they're cool looking cards. You know, again, a lot of detail for something that was, you know, it's not very expensive at all. You know, Kobe, again, is going to be the biggest name that you're going to get here, right around the $30 price point. Iverson, you're looking at about $10 for that one. KG, you can probably get closer to $5. Tim Duncan, about $5. You know, the Sharif Abdul-Rahim is one I would put in the common pile. As far as those go, it's about $1 or $2. You know, but it is not uncommon to see these go for less. You know, the Iverson and the KG, you know, $5, sometimes even a little bit less than that. You know, I just think that these are cool looking. Again, the theme is really fun. I love how the colors, they coincide with each team color of each player. So, you know, the purple for Kobe is really cool. I think they kind of got a little bit lackadaisical on the Sharif, this, you know, kind of orangey brown color. Definitely, to me, I mean, I guess it's the grizzly color, but they could have gone with like a teal or something a little bit more vibrant. You know, the same thing you could say with the Duncan being gray. You know, I think it would have been cool if they had kind of like a black or even a white might look really striking with that gold. You know, so again, some things that I would have done a little bit differently, but especially when you're looking at like the Kobe and the Iverson and the KG, I think these are really cool with those different colors. So a nice one here, a little bit different than some of the other ones, but one that I think is cool to check out for sure. All right, next on the list we have getting a little bit older. So we got 95.96 SP. This is the Premium Collection, or some people call it the Holoview. So you can see here we've got the penny. You've got the full color picture with all of the holograms in the back, 4 of them. Almost kind of brings you back to like an Andy Warhol painting. And if you can catch it in the light just right, it is really cool. There is a Jordan in this set. It gets just over the $100 price point. So, you know, you're looking at about $100 to $110, but I think, you know, we can include it in this list. It's close enough. There is a parallel version of this, which is called the FX, or it's the die cut. One of the confusing things with this set is they are called different things. So if you're looking at a pack of cards, which we have opened on this channel, so take a look at that video. So, like I said, some people call it the Premium Collection, some people call it Holoviews, the parallels, some people call it the die cut, some people call it the FX. So if you're looking for them, it behooves you to look for all of those different combinations of those names, to be completely honest. You know, so the parallel version, especially with that Jordan, I could not get into this list, but I could get this base version. We already talked about the Jordan for value. You know, Shaq and Penny are 2 of the other bigger names, which are going to be right around the $10 to $15 price point. And again, commons, this is a large checklist. You can get commons for right around $1 or $2 typically. There are rookies from this year, no KG unfortunately, but you know, guys like Antonio McDyess you can get. And there is an error version rumored to be out there of Jordan with Antonio McDyess in the background, if I remember correctly, or maybe it's Antonio McDyess in the foreground and Jordan in the background. Regardless, there's a Jordan error card out there from the set that gets a bit more, but that is very hard. It's almost a mythical creature at this point. So, you know, if anybody has one or has seen one, I would love to see a picture. That'd be really cool. So, you know, post that on Instagram and tag me if you wouldn't mind if you do have one of those, please. All right, moving on here, we're going to go to number 3. So this is one I've talked about before as well. $98.99 Topps Gold Label. We've got the Jordan, the Kobe, and the Tim Duncan. One of these is not like the others. I will let you take a look at these for just a moment, see if you can pick it out. And we have talked about it before, so extra points for paying attention if you do notice it. So, the different one is the Jordan. That is the black label parallel. There's also a red label parallel. So we are focusing on the base version, which the Kobe and the Duncan are. You can see it where it says Topps Gold Label. That's where the color is different. That's the only difference. It is subtle. It is hard to pick up. People miss it all the time. Grading companies miss it all the time. So something fun to be on the lookout for if you are trying to get some of those parallel versions for your collection. But the base versions are not the most expensive cards in the world, even when you're looking at Jordan and Kobe. Again, these were like about one per box, if I remember correctly. But the Jordan, you're looking at $30 to $35 for the base version. And honestly, you can get this black label for about $35 to $50. It depends on how it's listed, how it's photographed, all that kind of stuff. The Kobe, you're looking at about $20 to $25. A Shaq, you're probably looking at like $5, sometimes closer to $10. Tim Duncan, about the same, $5 to $10. A small checklist, not a lot of players, but some of the guys like Keith Van Horn or Antoine Walker are going to be in the commons area, where you're looking at probably $1 or $2 for those in this base version. In the black label version, you're not going to expect those commons to be worth much more, even though the scarcity, the pack odds were much longer. We're just talking about the base version here. So again, you can get all those big names, and it's not going to break the bank. It's something that's, honestly, it's under the $50 price point. So really, really inexpensive, really cool looking. These, I've talked about the looks of these. They remind me a lot of Flair Showcase, all the good stuff. They're a beautiful card. I think they kind of speak for themselves, though. So that's why it is so high on this list at number 3. Number 2, this is a similar theme to the prior one, but we've got the 96-97 SP Premium Collection or Holoview. So just like the 95-96 version, but this is a year later, a long checklist, but a much better checklist in the sense of the rookie class is star-studded. So here you can see we've got the Iverson, Stephon Marbury, and Penny Hardaway. This one is cool too because the players' team colors come through on each card, so each one has a little bit of variation. The Kobe is one of the headliners from this one because it is his rookie year. Obviously that purple color. Jordan's in the set. You get Shaq, Iverson, Penny, Dennis Rodman, Kevin Garnett. Obviously, you see the Stephon Marbury here. So, the list goes on and on. Looking at the Jordan, you're looking at probably about a $70 card typically for this one. The Kobe is the one that just barely made it in at right around $100 for that. Again, typically these ones, be on the lookout because sometimes you can see the color is faded on these. Sometimes the hologram is almost like grayed out. So just some stuff to kind of keep a lookout. If it looks like the color is faded, it probably is not something that I would want in my collection, something with faded colors, but to each his own, I guess. The Iverson, again, being a rookie year card, you're looking at $25 to $30. Shaq, $10 to $15. Penny, right around $10. Rodman, about $10. Kevin Garnett, around $10. So on and so forth. And this one, for the commons, you're looking at probably closer to $5 for most. It would... not a lot of them are going to be lower than that. Maybe like a John Wallace would be lower. That might be closer to $1, but these ones definitely are something that people enjoy quite a bit, as the price indicates, for the commons all the way up to a guy like Kobe Bryant. So very nice ones here at number 2 for my list. No parallels. Also something I think we should note there, unlike the 95-96 version. All right, before we get to the number 1 here, we are going to go through a few honorable mentions. So 98.99, we've got the Topps Kickstart. This one just outside of the top 10 because it's a lot like the Coast to Coast, not as rare as the Coast to Coast, and I just think the Coast to Coast is a little bit cooler looking. The checklist isn't as star-studded, but you do have Iverson in this one. You do also have some rookies like Vince Carter is in Kickstart, so definitely some stuff to enjoy that's different, but very similar. There is not a Topps Chrome version of this one. I think it would have been really cool if there was, but you can kind of see a basketball with some flame going off of it. Some cool stuff there with this one. The next honorable mention, we're going to go with my graded copy just because it was easier for me to grab. I've got a few copies of this card. But anyway, 96-97 Topps Holding Court Refractor. Again, this obviously notes it's with the coating. One of the reasons why, you know, I have multiple copies is because this one with the coating is over Penny's face. So I have another one without the coating, and I have another one with the coating where it's in a spot that's not obstructing my view of Penny's face or his jersey. So anyway, there's a Jordan in this set. There, you know, Shaq, some other players. You know, one of those cards I think is really cool. You get that chromium finish, you get refractor on this one. But the reason why this one fell outside of that top 10 is really because of the value of the Jordan. You're looking at closer to $170 to $180 on the Jordan. So just too expensive for me to justify including on the list. But something that I thought, you know, some of the other players like, you know, Shaq and Penny, you know, you're getting like $20 to $30. I felt like they were good enough looking and priced right for me to at least put it in as an honorable mention. Next honorable mention, no shocks, probably you've heard me talk about these as being one of my favorites of all time. We get the 1997 SPX Holoview Heroes. So here we've got the Jordan, we've got the Kevin Garnett, and we've got the Penny. So again, Jordan is going to make this one too expensive to be on this list at probably about $250 or more. You know, you get an Iverson in this list, you're looking at $20 to $30. Shaq, you're looking at $30 to $40. The Penny, for whatever reason, tends to go for about $50 to $60. Rodman about $70. You know, so a great checklist, beautiful cards. Again, I've talked about these. You might be tired of hearing me talk about them, but you're never tired of looking at them, I'm sure. So commons in this set, you're looking at about $5 or a little bit more. So Jordan makes it too expensive to have on this list. Another one that Jordan makes it too expensive for, this is the 97-98 Skybox Z-Force Quick Strike. So here we've got a Sharif Abdul-Rahim. The Jordan on this one is going to be about a $300+ card. Very expensive. These are very condition sensitive, and the reason why is because you get a lot of delaminating on this hollow foil piece. You know, but that is also what makes it so beautiful. The hollow foil, you get it on the front. You've also got it on the back. You can see sometimes the delaminating a little bit more clearly on the back, but you've also got the acetate kind of eye through the middle. Really cool stuff. Really enjoy these cards, but again, you know, too pricey to be on this list, so wanted to mention them because some of these commons, you know, you're looking at about $10 or so. Some of the other guys like Iverson and Penny, you're looking at $40 to $50. So some players definitely are, you know, values that I think warrant being on the list, and I think they're just really cool looking, and something that, again, in high condition, really good condition copies, they are very sought after. The lower condition copies, you can get deals if you just like the look of them and you don't mind some of those specs that tend to happen. Another one, because of the year I didn't include, but I wanted to make sure to mention it because it is one of my favorites of the 90s. 99-2000 Flair Tradition. This is the hardwood, or the Masters of the Hardwood. Sorry, I was going to say that backwards. So this is really cool to me because, again, we've got some embossing, kind of like the Great Expectations, but this almost looks like they're jumping out of a wooden box, which I think is cool. And then you've also got, you know, some subtle hollow foil on the lettering on the bottom, which I think is just a cool piece that, you know, it's, again, it's subtle. It goes to add to the visual cues, but it doesn't overwhelm this card, where the hardwood pattern really is the overwhelming part, which makes sense for the name. You know, and then also seeing some of that embossing, but also that hardwood on the back is also really cool. So you know, just a set that I think is really neat, but again, the year is what kept it out. And if you want to see more stuff from 99-2000 that didn't make the list because I cut that out, check out my Instagram. I'll probably post a reel at some point over the next week or so. Maybe even it'll get on TikTok. And I'll show some of these cards on that reel, as well as some more 99-2000 beauties that I didn't put on this list. But these aren't very expensive. You know, you're looking at most of them being $20 or less. Even the Kobe Bryant, you're looking at $20 or less. So not expensive, but beautiful, in my opinion. All right, number one. We have the 96 SPX Holoview Heroes. So no shock here. You saw me, I talked about the 97, the year after. This was the first year of SPX. Beautiful die cuts, beautiful holograms again. You know, just stuff that I can't get enough of. I love this picture of Penny, but this is also one that has a Jordan that gets in the list, which I'm always happy when I can get an insert that's beautiful and you know, good value for Jordan. So about $50 you're looking at for a Jordan. Shaq you're looking at $5 to $10. Penny $5 to $10. But there are also a few commons that you're looking at $1 or $2. So you know, some great, fun, beautiful cards, something that you could try to complete the whole set. You get a little bit of the player's color from their team on that oval piece, so a little bit of variation throughout the set to make it something a little bit unique on each one. Again, just a lot of really cool stuff to look at with holograms. If you get them in the right light, if you get it perfectly lined up, it's just gorgeous. They just really pop. So I love holograms, I love die cuts, so why not have both on the #1 card on this list? Alright, so that was the list, and like I said many times, I'll say it once more, there are a lot more cards I could have had on this list. A couple of exceptions made for a couple of cards just over the threshold, and you know, those honorable mentions that would not fit within that threshold at all. So hopefully you enjoyed this list, but if there's anything that you think I forgot or something that you would choose differently, let me know that down in the comments, because there are so many beautiful cards from the 90s, so many insert cards that fit within this parameter, and you know, prices are always changing, so sometimes there are things that are outside of this wheelhouse right now that might be in, some things that are on the list that might be out, you know, in a year or so. So you know, if you're looking at this well after it's been released, take a look at current prices, because they could change significantly and some of these might not be as relevant as they were at the time. So anyway, with that caveat, if I haven't said it already, Happy New Year. Got a lot of fun stuff that I'm excited for in the hobby in the next year. Keep an eye out on Instagram and TikTok for some of those reels if I choose to make them. So thanks. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. Hit that bell icon so you don't miss any videos in the future. New videos dropping once, sometimes twice a week. We've got looks into my PC, occasional collector interviews, grading reveals, 90s pack openings, of course, and some show reviews as well, and so much more. Thanks. We'll talk later.